I'm currently going through the anger phase of the grieving process for my friend, and I've been sitting around thinking about comic book movies, and they have a massive problem, which I'm going to fix in this video. But when I say massive problem, I'm not talking about woke stuff, right? Woke is a phrase that dumb people and grifters use for things that they don't like. When I say a massive problem, here's what I mean. Sony says that they want to make a whole bunch of Spider-Man films that have nothing to do with anything that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is working on because they have faith in their cinematic universe. Well, that's cool that you have faith in your cinematic universe, Sony, because nobody else does. But here comes the clue train. The last stop is you. The last comic book movie that you made was Madam Web, and it's got an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. As a frame of reference here, Howard the Duck is rated at 13%. Your movie literally did worse than a Marvel movie that had bestiality. So I think it's important to be able to stand up and accept the fact that you're just not making good live-action Spider-Man movies. So maybe you should just leave that to being done by Marvel, which 7 years ago would have been a great idea. Here's the problem. The Marvel Cinematic Universe Multiverse Saga feels less like a multiverse saga and more like a collection of movies centering around a villain who may not be the villain because we don't know saga. And I say that because one of the most popular searches when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe Multiverse Saga on Google is, who is the main villain of the Multiverse Saga? And people are not asking that question because Marvel's playing the long game, trickling out these little clues, and it's a great big huge theory crafting guessing game. No, people are asking that question because they don't know, and they don't know because Marvel doesn't know. So I'm gonna do you a favor, Marvel and Sony. I'm gonna fix your shit, and I'm gonna do it over the span of 5 projects: Spider-Verse, What If, Deadpool 3, The Fantastic Four, and Avengers Kang Dynasty. Here's the crazy thing. Kang Dynasty is gonna pull the rug out from everything that you think is actually going on. So let's start with Spider-Verse. Now we can all agree universally that Spider-Verse is the best series of films that have come out in the last 5 years. And there'll be no arguing that. Between the soundtrack and the animation and the storytelling, you just can't beat it. So we go into Beyond Spider-Verse, and that plot unfolds however it is that it unfolds, right? Just a giant race to try to find Miles Morales and keep the spot from eradicating everything in existence. But a subplot over the course of this movie is that members of Spider-Gwen's team and members of Miguel O'Hara's Spider Society are going missing. But Miguel O'Hara thinks that Spider-Gwen is responsible for his missing members, and Spider-Gwen thinks Miguel is responsible for her missing members. But none of them are the wiser to what's going on. And even we as the audience don't really find out until we get close to the end. The movie ends however it ends, and then what do you know? The Time Variance Authority pops up to the Spider Society of Miguel O'Hara and Spider-Gwen, who are all basically in the same place, and they tell them, you're being recruited for a greater cause. This goes into What If Season 3, and yes, I'm leaving you hanging on Spider-Verse. We'll circle back around to that here in a minute. What If Season 2 basically ended with the Watcher showing Peggy Carter what the multiverse looks like, which is exactly what it looked like at the end of Loki Season 2 when he was sitting on a chair holding the whole thing together. What If Season 3 would basically continue on with whatever story it has, but at the end of What If Season 3, the Time Variance Authority shows up yet again and they snatch up all these different Avengers and bring them back to TVA headquarters, which is where we see the collection of the Spider Society, including Spider-Gwen, as well as all the Avengers and the Multiverse Avengers team under the Watcher, as well as any other Avengers who have been gathered that we just simply didn't see being brought together by the TVA. This goes into Deadpool 3. Deadpool 3 unfolds however Deadpool 3 unfolds. I don't know, it's coming out in a month, it's too late to change anything. I would ideally begin the process of introducing the Exiles. We already know that Deadpool's working with the TVA, and the Exiles are basically just a hodgepodge collection of superheroes from various universes all working together for a collective cause. But then we go into the Fantastic Four. And the Fantastic Four is really when things start to come together, because the Fantastic Four would be positioned as the team. Why? Because in Marvel Comics, the Fantastic Four were Marvel's answer to the Justice League of America from DC Comics, but they were also the first family. Literally, every superhero team in Marvel Comics looks to the Fantastic Four. Their word is beyond contestation. So when the Fantastic Four show up and they say, oh my God, guys, we all need to come together in order to defeat this enemy, everybody joins up and nobody asks why. We keep that going with regards to the Marvel Cinematic Universe Multiverse Saga. We make the movie however it is that we end up making the movie. Ideally, I would say that the Fantastic Four takes place in an alternate universe if we want to do that. It makes it easy to explain why we've never heard of them before in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they basically go out and explore the multiverse for whatever reason that we decide makes sense. And along the way, we end up having the events of Loki which transpire when the multiverse snaps back and everything goes nuts, and they basically lose their way home. So the whole of the Fantastic Four movie is effectively the plot to Sliders, where they're just traveling around the multiverse trying to find their way back to their own universe. Along the way, they come across whole worlds that have just been razed, where all the superheroes on those worlds have just been systematically killed off. That world's Avengers or X-Men or Fantastic Four or all the above are all basically dead. And after discovering this across multiple worlds, the Fantastic Four slowly begin to figure out this is all being done by a group calling itself the Kang Dynasty. This is one of those cool elements because it keeps the Fantastic Four separate but allows them to tie in at the same time, because in essence, they're beginning to figure out what we as the audience already know. But the fact that they're able to piece it together on their own without any outside help shows how capable the Fantastic Four are as a team. The movie ends with the Fantastic Four actually being captured by the Kang Dynasty. Why? Because over the course of the movie, between Reed Richards' intelligence and Susan Storm's ingenuity and all that kind of stuff, they're the ones that actually begin to figure out what the grand plan of the Kang Dynasty is. And so capturing them allows the Kang Dynasty to take the Fantastic Four off the board, while at the same time keeping them alive. Now, some of you guys may ask, why don't they simply just kill them? Well, we can use whatever in-movie universe explanation we want to use, but the reality is that you and I will both know they're not killing them off because we want to bring them in later on into the future of the MCU. But here's the kicker. What ends up going on is we go into the Kang Dynasty film. And the Kang Dynasty basically gives us this great big huge exposition where it shows us what the Kang Dynasty has been doing this entire time, ever since we saw them in the post-credit scene at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. It shows us what their plan looks like. It shows us how it's supposed to unfold, what their actual goal is. And at the very end of the movie, however it is that film unfolds, that you end up having the Time Variance Authority who show up to rescue the Fantastic Four. But this is when we pull the rug out from everybody, because at the end of this movie, when the Fantastic Four are being rescued by the TVA in order to bring the team into what we consider to be the superheroes that'll be working against the Kang Dynasty, there's all these sounds of battle and conflict that are taking place out there, and we're largely just kind of left to assume that the Time Variance Authority are sending their agents in order to deal with the Kang Dynasty. And considering the fact that this is not going to be Secret Wars, that there's no reason to believe that the Kang Dynasty is going to be destroyed. So we largely just assume that the TVA is going to lose, or a lot of their members are going to be killed, but the Fantastic Four will make it out. That's not what's happening at all. This group of TVA agents that are rescuing the Fantastic Four are actually a very small contingent, and they've snuck in and snuck out, because all these sounds of battle and conflict that are taking place out there within the greater Kang Dynasty headquarters has nothing to do with the TVA. That's when you scale out and show us what's actually happening. That in some alternate reality, when the Kang Dynasty showed up and eradicated all the superheroes, that a Doctor Doom on that world survived. And Doctor Doom started to figure out what was going on. What's happening is that Doctor Doom is invading the Kang Dynasty headquarters with an army of Doombots, and he's slaughtering them all. And some of them are escaping, fleeing out into the multiverse, never to be seen or heard from again. And so the final shot of the Kang Dynasty movie is Doctor Doom standing over the corpse of Immortus, the guy who was leading all the Kangs, and saying, "It is Doom's time now. Let there be suffering and woe to all who stand in my way." Mic drop, Doctor Doom is the villain of Secret Wars. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. Let me know what you think down in the comments section, and I will catch you all later. Peace.